First item on the agenda is introduction of bills. Do we have any introduction of bills? Rachel Willis with the Commerce Department.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Rachel Willis here with the Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce would like to request the introduction of 22 RS 2632, the Attracting Powerful Economic Expansion, or what we're referring to as the APEX bill. This bill will create a new economic development tool, which will allow the state to successfully recruit very large businesses and their suppliers.
Without objection, we will introduce that bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, are there any questions about the committee rules? We're going to, any questions? Okay, we'll have to wait till we have more members to adopt those, but we will wait for that. Okay, next we have a presentation by Jake Reed, President and CEO of Sporting Kansas City. Welcome to the committee, Jake.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Madam Chair, committee members. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. Quick intro, in case you're not familiar with Sporting Kansas City. We take a lot of pride as the only pro sports team in this great state of Kansas. And although we didn't win it all last year, that is our goal every year to continue to bring trophies here. I've been part of this franchise for what will be 12 years now. And we take so much pride in what we've done with the state, what we've accomplished in Kansas City, Kansas, and Wyandotte County. And I think from our organization, that's most important, right? We are on the global stage. We've had over 100 national televised games since we opened that stadium in 2011, and that shines a spotlight on our region and ultimately drives economic value. For those who are familiar with our history, Star Bonds helped build that stadium. We paid those back in just under 7 years, and we continue to be a huge economic engine, not just for that region, but I think for the state in general. And so for us, contributing upwards of $500 million annually in economic impact is something we take a lot of pride in and will continue to do. COVID aside, we've had a rough 2 years, as have many. We're excited to be back, what I would call a normal year this year as we kick off officially on March 5th at home, and we are in preseason as we speak. So I'll talk a little bit about us, our facilities today, and then I also want to talk about the FIFA World Cup in 2026, which I'm on the bid committee for, and which we're pushing hard to bring to our region. For us, we rank third in MLS history in the most trophies won and most successful franchises. So we're the second smallest market in the league. We always talk about punching above our weight class. I think those of us from the Midwest can appreciate the chip on your shoulder of call it what you will, flyover country, whatever. I think from a franchise standpoint, on and off the field, we've consistently over-delivered as what you might expect as you look at the second smallest market in the league. So whether that's championships, whether that's selling out over 90% of those matches that we've played in Children's Mercy Park, all of those for us are contributing to the success of our region in the awareness of Kansas City and the state of Kansas. We've averaged over 600,000 visitors per year to that stadium alone. So that includes anywhere from 20 to 25 matches a year, as well as 200 other events that we're doing there. So anything from Chamber of Commerce meetings to large events for weddings, for conferences, you name it. I think that facility was built not just to be match day specific, but to host year-round events, and we've proven that concept out, which has been a huge boon for the region. We run all of our own internal operations in-house. So that's food and beverage, that's stadium operations. That employs over 650 part-time game day folks, as well as 250 full-time associates year-round. So for us, we wanted to keep that money here. We didn't want to outsource that and pay other organizations that may be based out of different states. So we keep that money local, and we've done everything in-house. The National Performance Center, which opened in 2017, is, in our opinion, by far the best in North America. That's home to our first team from a training standpoint, as well as U.S. Soccer. They centralized all of their coaching education there. So for those not in the soccer world, you have to get licensed to be a coach, whether that's at a youth level or Peter Vermees as our first team coach. All of those courses are focused now in Kansas City. So the top courses, everyone comes here into our region. They run those courses out of that facility. They're staying in our region. They're staying in those hotels. That drives upwards of 10,000 room nights annually to Village West. And so for us, with that relationship with U.S. Soccer has been immensely important. Not to mention on the team side, you've got the national teams that oftentimes base camp out of Kansas City. So that could be the men's team, the women's team, the youth teams. They've got different teams from U14s up to U21s. All of those teams have come and base camped in Kansas City at one point or another over the course of that history of that facility. Again, as part of that, we opened up a fields complex about a mile from there in Wyandotte County that has 8 synthetic fields, 4 natural grass fields. That drives over 1.3 million annual visitors to our region. So I always tell the story of Village West when we opened, and a lot of the businesses weren't aware that that facility was opening. We have relationships with a lot of people there, and we get a lot of questions like, what's going on? Chick-fil-A is selling out of chicken sandwiches. What's happening? It's the youth tournaments on the weekend. It's those kids, those families coming in. As a parent of a 7- and 8-year-old, anyone who's had kids in youth sports, you can appreciate your weekends quickly are not yours anymore, and you're traveling around. So I think to have that complex there being state of the art as a base camp for a lot of teams in the area is, again, we're drawing regionally for that. It's not just from KCK. It's from all over our state. It's from, we've got teams from Iowa coming down, Northwest Arkansas coming over. Certainly Missouri is a huge draw over into that area. So again, for us, the central theme here is how do we create economic activity in that area? You guys have been fantastic partners at a state level over the course of the decade plus that I've been here, and we're excited to continue on and make this state proud. Shifting into World Cup, and this is something that you may not be as familiar with, we're actively bidding for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. For those non-soccer fans out there, this is by far the biggest sports event in the world, and I mean that respectfully with Super Bowl and everything else. If you talk to the Chiefs, who have been good partners of ours through this is like hosting 5 Super Bowls in a month. So it's hard to put into perspective the impact on the region, not just economically, but just visibility into Kansas City. So the last Super Bowl, I think, did 110 million viewers. The last World Cup did 3.2 billion with a B, just from a little bit of perspective there from a worldwide audience standpoint. So this is a massive, massive event. It would mean upwards of $1 billion of impact into our region. We've got multiple options here, both from hosting matches, which would be at Arrowhead. Just from a capacity standpoint, you need to have at least a 55,000 seat venue, as well as a base camp for some of those teams. So with the training center that we've got, we feel incredibly bullish that we will host at least one team. And what that means is a team like Brazil may come in and base camp here for a month and then travel around the country to the different sites. They'll select 10 sites, 10 cities in the U.S. as hosts for games. We are one of those in consideration, but we will host a team at that training facility. So the state of Kansas will host one of those teams for the World Cup more than likely. That also means that on average, 25 to 30,000 of their fans come with them. So this isn't just a, hey, that's cool, our team is there. They will come, plant themselves in Kansas City for that month, and then travel with the teams as they go to wherever those matches might be. So this is an incredible opportunity for our region. We've had great, I think, cross-state collaboration on this with both Kansas and Missouri. This is a very unique bid where you've got the ability to leverage unbelievable facilities on both sides of the state line, and we're very excited from a Sporting Kansas City standpoint to have our facilities in our state as part of the bid. So with that, I will pause. Thank you again. I'm happy to stand for questions about anything from Sporting Kansas City to World Cup or anything between. So thank you again so much for your time today.
Okay, questions? Yes, Senator Dahl.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One time you guys were talking about, like, for no better term, a minor league type things, and I think Garden City was under the consideration at that time. Where are you guys at with that?
Yeah, great question. So we do have a team. So it's again, baseball analogy is probably easier, right? Think of a AAA affiliate. That team will play in the state of Kansas. We don't have a contract done yet, but it will be at a location close by to this facility, potentially with a major college university there. So we're excited to keep that in the state. And again, it'll be regional. We didn't want to have it in Kansas City. I think it's challenging when you've got Sporting playing and then a minor league team playing in the same city. You kind of cannibalize one another. So that is happening.
Other questions? Yes, Senator Dietrich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this sounds really very exciting. Thank you for being here today. You're doing good work. Are there things that you haven't asked of us, or we just need to stay out of your way? What?
You guys have been good at getting in the way in a good way over the years. So, listen, I think for us, it's just important to be good partners, right? And you guys have been that since I've been here. And so this is as much about just reminding you of what we're doing and what you guys have helped with is working, right? I think that's the main thing. And we're excited to continue on, and there's plenty of opportunities moving forward for us. But right now, this is less of an ask, more of a thank you and an update on the great work that we're doing. Thanks to you all. I know you don't get no one asking for something very often in this committee, I'm sure, so.
Other questions? Okay, Jake, I do have a couple. So are there plans to have a women's soccer league in the area?
There are. So they will play in our stadium the next 2 years. So the NWSL, which is the women's professional league, launched a team last year. So they just rebranded. So the Kansas City Current. So Chris and Angie Long are the majority owners of that club. Fantastic people. Have had the pleasure of knowing them for many years now. They're building their own facility on the Missouri side of the state line, which will be completed sometime in 23 to 24. They will be playing their next two seasons more than likely in our facility. Certainly next year, depends on how the construction goes, but we anticipate this being a 2-year runway. So we've got a great relationship with them. We've collaborated on many different things, and we're excited for the region to have them back. A quick history, we had a team, they left in, I think, around 2017 or 18, I may be getting the dates wrong, and then they just returned last year. So exciting to have them back in the fold.
Great. Okay, I'll keep going then. Looks like no one else has any questions. So when you talk about us, bidding for a big event like the 2026 Cup, what are some things that we need to be looking at as a state to make us more competitive, that maybe other sites have a leg up on us that we need to look toward? So do you have any assessment of that?
Yeah, another good one. So I should state, I sit on the Kansas City Sports Commission board. This is by far the biggest bid we've been a part of, and we've had some really big ones over the years. We've got the NFL draft coming to Kansas City in 2023, which the Sports Commission was part of. There's nothing that really can compare in scale to what this would be. So this has been great collaboration between both states, both cities, Chiefs, Royals, us, the Current, everyone in between has come together with this. So I think, God bless you. So from a state standpoint, I think what's important is, we said this, so FIFA came in, and I guess it was October for the site visit. And I remember when they left, I was telling everyone, I don't know if we're going to get it, but it's not due to that presentation. I mean, we hit it out of the park with commitment from just how excited we are, how committed both sides of the state are. I think that's the most important thing right now. If we get this, there will be some financial obligations that I probably will come with an ask around, but I think that's an easy ask when I can demonstrate pretty clearly what we've got at that point and what the impact will be. I think the main thing is just being vocal about supporting it, to be honest with you. I think when you look at cities on the coast, use New York as an example, right? They just assume they're getting it, and they will because it's New York. So they're not going to go through any type of effort to show their excitement around it because they're gonna get it, right? I think those of us who are competing for one of the few remaining spots, we need to demonstrate the excitement around it and how much we would love to have it in our region. And I think that carries weight with FIFA because they look at us and they've said repeatedly, every time they talk to us, the energy, the excitement, the passion shines through. And I think the more we can do that as you're having conversations with folks about it is immensely helpful.
Great. Chick, what is our capacity for growth? You said we're the second smallest market. Do we have the capacity to expand to be a bigger market, or are we pretty comfortable? Is that kind of are we landlocked in that, or what's your assessment?
Yeah, I think we've got capacity. I think the way we look at it is we should be a regional franchise, right? So I think one of the benefits to where we are is we're located in a region where we don't have teams around us, right? If you look at geography, St. Louis is getting a club starting in 2023, which would be a good rivalry. Outside of that, you've got Chicago to the north, Cincinnati as you go east, and Colorado as you go west is our closest neighbors. So there's a big area in between there. We're very focused on regional growth and engaging the states surrounding us. We've got good relationships with a lot of the soccer enterprises in those states, excuse me. So I think that's where our opportunity is, right? Is can we become a regional Midwestern club, and that's where we view the opportunity. So again, everyone likes to use the small market as a crutch. We do not. We think it's a huge benefit to us, and frankly, it's a good motivator that, when we look at the statistics around the league, we're outperforming a lot of those bigger markets, Chicago's, Dallas's of the world, that certainly, if you looked at it on paper from an outsider's perspective, you would not expect Kansas City to be outperforming them, but we've done it pretty consistently, which we're proud of.
Great. One follow-up question, and then Senator Stephan has a question. What do you attribute that to? Our success in beating out the Dallas, what do you attribute that to?
I think a couple of, there's no silver bullet on that one. I'd say, listen, the passion of this region is clear, right? I think I've lived in other cities where you have a lot of implants that are from different areas that aren't probably loyal to that. Here, I think there's a fierce loyalty to your sports teams, collegiately, professionally. That comes through, and I think fans get a lot of credit for rallying behind us. And I think the corporate community is the same, right? I think we don't have the most Fortune 500 companies in our region, but the ones that do are great supporters of what we're trying to accomplish. And then, I think ownership gets a lot of credit in this as well. They've continued to invest in the team, in the region, and certainly the last 2 years were not a picture of financial success as we went through COVID, yet they continued to carry the weight and double down, and so that they certainly get some credit there. And then the relationships like this, right? Talking to our peers around the country, it's difficult when you've got a state or local government who's not supportive. We are very fortunate both at the UG level and at the state level to have great partners.
Thank you, Jake. Senator Stephan.
Thank you. Earlier you mentioned the Kansas City Sports Commission, is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so they're based on the Missouri side of the state line. Their sole purpose is to attract major events to the region, right? So anytime you've seen any of the NCAA competitions come through, we've hosted the Division III championships for football in our stadium a couple of times over the years. They were immensely involved in that. So it's an organization solely based on attracting events from a national standpoint to here. So that could be everything from football to gymnastics to bowling to World Cup and literally everything in between.
Well, any talk from an NBA standpoint?
Not so much on that one. So I think that's largely being run by the city from what I can gather. So there may be conversations. Those ones I'm not privy to. So as I worked in the NBA for about 4 years before switching into the soccer realm. So yeah, I don't have any insight onto where that one stands. Certainly on record, I don't.
Any other questions for Jake? Jake, thank you so much. This has been very helpful. We appreciate the work that you guys are doing and appreciate your commitment and passion for this program. And we're going to be pulling for you to get that 2026 bid. So
I know you will.
Let us know how we can help.
We will. We appreciate it. Thank you all again for the time.
Thank you. Okay, committee, we're going to go back up on the agenda. Any discussion or questions about the committee rules? Number 14. Yeah. For the audience, number 14 is all powers, duties, and responsibilities not addressed herein are reserved to the chair. Did you have a question, Senator Peck?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Since you recognized me, that was the one that I thought was the best rule of all.
Well, thank you. I came up with that strictly on my own. Nowhere have I ever seen that in any other committee, so I appreciate that compliment. Any others? Okay, motion to adopt the rules.
I move.
Thank you. Senator O'Shea, second. Thank you, Senator Dietrich. All in favor? Or any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no? Okay, those are our adopted rules. Committee, we will be sending out an updated agenda later today. Please look for that. We are going to pick up the pace substantially starting tomorrow, so please make note of that updated agenda. Any other announcements? Okay, we are adjourned.